I've Got a Missing Woman, a concept album, a sonic journey that defies rock, pop and electronica, but here's the unsettling truth. You might not even exist in it. This is Hand Cannot Erase. And what Steven Wilson created here isn't just an album, it's a mirror. And once you step in, you may not come back the same. Let's talk about that record that made prog feel human again. Now, for those who know Steven Wilson, merely as the former frontman of Porcupine Tree, Hand Cannot Erase might come as a bit of a surprise. It was released in 2015 and was his fourth solo album, and arguably the moment Wilson transformed from prog royalty to something really much far broader. A narrative, visionary, in modern rock, loosely based on the true story of Joyce Carol Vincent. Now, she was a woman who died alone in a London flat and wasn't discovered for over 2 years. Now, the album explores themes of urban isolation, memory, technology and human disconnection. It's part Pink Floyd's The Wall, it's part Kate Bush's Hounds of Love, and it's part Radiohead's OK Computer, yet it's unmistakably Wilson. Critic Tom Jurek of AllMusic called it a near masterpiece of modern progressive music. And he's not wrong there, you know. But it's more than prog. This album resonates with listeners far beyond the genre boundaries, it really does. Musically, Hand Cannot Erase is rich, it's ambitious and almost cinematic. You can hear Wilson's fingerprints on every layer, from the immaculate production to the guitar tones that shimmered and decayed like faded photographs. The title track itself is shockingly accessible. A power pop gem nestled between sprawling 10-minute prog epics. It's not what most expected from Wilson, and that's exactly why it works. In interviews he did at the time, he explained that this track was written to evoke the false optimism that's often portrayed on social media. You know, this deliberate contrast to the actual loneliness at the album's core. Now then you get something like Routine, featuring the wonderful Israeli singer Ninette Tayeb. Her voice, haunting, maternal, furious. This elevates the track to something akin to performance art.
When I was 13, I had a sister for 6 months.
It's about the numbness of loss, the mechanical repetition of grief. Tayeb's performance received wide acclaim at the time, and quite rightly so. Many fans now consider it an indispensable part of Wilson's sonic universe. But it's ancestral where Wilson truly lets loose. Nearly 13 minutes of spiralling time signatures. Ambient passages and jagged riffs, and chilling orchestration arranged by none other than the great Dave Stewart of Egg and Hatfield and the North fame. This track alone justifies the term progressive, but it never feels indulgent, it doesn't. Every movement is in service of the emotional arc. The album is a balancing act. It's accessible without pandering, experimental without alienating. The lyrics are observational, they're fragmented, and they're really quite poetic. It's like diary entries in many respects, found in the drawer of somebody who has disappeared. There's a quiet despair in Perfect Life, where the spoken word narration recounts a childhood memory. And then there's Happy Returns.
Hey brother, I'd love to tell you I've been busy, but that would...
Possibly one of the saddest closers in recent rock history. Written as a letter from the missing protagonist to her estranged brother.
Hey brother.
Now, Wilson has said he wanted to explore the idea that someone could vanish in a city full of people and no one would notice. And the most unsettling part? It happens every day. On here you've got Gavin Harrison's drumming, and this adds a restless pulse throughout. The rhythm section isn't just tight, it's empathetic, it's always guiding the emotion without overplaying it. This is prog really for people who feel things very deeply indeed, not just musicianship, but there's humanity. Now, upon release, Hand Cannot Erase received widespread critical acclaim. Prog magazine hailed it as a high watermark for modern progressive rock, while The Guardian gave it 4 stars, praising its conceptual ambition. Peers took notice too. Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater called it the best album of 2015, hands down. Even fans of metal, indie and ambient electronic music found common ground in its emotional scope. It charted very well across Europe and entered the UK albums chart at number 13, and that's no small feat for a prog record in the age of stream. But more importantly, it stuck. Years later, fans continue dissecting its layers on forums, on vinyl, on lossless audio systems in their living rooms. And increasingly, younger listeners are discovering it on their headphones at 2 a.m. of a morning, feeling seen by its melancholic truth. Now let's be fair, it isn't without flaws. No album is, or virtually no album is. And some critics felt that the album's narrative was perhaps a little bit too opaque, too reliant on the supplemental materials like the accompanying blog or the deluxe notes to truly land a blow. A few purists even called it prog light, a step too far into accessibility. But to that I say, good. Wilson could have written another The Incident or Deadwing, but instead he chose to evolve, and in doing so he created a modern classic that dared to tell a personal story in a genre often obsessed with spectacle. This Hand Cannot Erase, it isn't just an album. It's a meditation on the modern world. It asks hard questions. Who are we when no one's watching? What happens when connection becomes performance? Can technology remember us when people forget? It's a record that listens back, that echoes long after the final track's well and truly over and done with. If you've ever felt alone in a crowd, if you've ever scrolled through a feed and wondered why it all feels empty, if you've ever lost someone and couldn't find the words, then Hand Cannot Erase is already speaking to you, not my words. Now, if this album hit you as hard as it hit me, then drop your thoughts in the comments. What's your favourite track? Do you see yourself in this story at all? Now, if you want to know more about Steven Wilson, I shot a video here that tells you more about him. That's the video I want you to watch next, and I'll see you over there.